So here we are with these are my two main hi-hats. These are the ones that I would travel with, regardless of genre. I use these all the time, and consequently, I get a lot of questions about them because they're pretty far from normal hi-hats. So this one over here on my right is the Sabian AA sick hat, 18-inch. For many years, I was playing either Peisty 2002 Sound Edge 14-inch, or I was playing 14-inch Sabian AAX accelerator hi-hats. Both of those I played because they had a warped edge on the bottom cymbal, and I came to understand that that meant that when you close the hi-hat, a vacuum doesn't form in between the two cymbals, and that means that no matter how hard you press on the pedal, and I mean you can even like get up and stand on the pedal, the hi-hat always retains this sound rather than potentially sounding like tuk 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 tuk, which would happen if it was just two flat edge cymbals that came together. So I came to really like that I could play. That I could play at any volume and it would always have this tss. Plus it also, I felt like it made the chick sound, it made it a little bit louder, which was nice. And then, you know, I was looking for something bigger. I was looking for a larger hi-hat to play. And so I went to Sabian's catalog and I found the biggest one. And it was this one. This is part of the Big and Ugly series back in the day. And it's 18 inches, and it's got kind of like this ozone plus hole pattern on top. It's got a lot of holes, and neither of the cymbals is lathed, top or bottom. No lathing whatsoever. There's also no hammering on either of the cymbals. And because of the holes, it still doesn't form a vacuum, so it still has that feature, which I like about it. And because of the lack of lathing, it almost kind of it already sounds like it's compressed. It's almost like it has a built-in compressor to it. But they had this really biting kind of raw sound to them. So they're amazing sounding hi-hats, and the other thing about these that's really nice is the stick sound and the chick sound are almost identical. So if I was to go, you can hear the articulation is not that different. And because the articulations are so close, it means that, I mean, yes, I can play it with a stick and do normal kind of groove patterns, but I also have the option, if I want, to just play it with my foot, and then my hands are free to do anything else around the kit. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll play a downbeat based groove, like for example on my X hat here, I'll play a downbeat based groove with the X hat, the snare drum, and the bass drum, and I'll put the sick hat on all of the 8th note offbeats, and it gives it kind of the effect of putting like an offbeat shaker, like chick, 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 chick. So I can almost cover both the drum set part and what would be a percussion part at the exact same time because of having this this similarity between the stick sound and the chick sound. So that would sound like. As opposed to not having that in there, which would sound like. Or something like that anyway. So that's the sick hat. Absolutely love that instrument. But as you can see, pretty much everything is symmetrical on this drum set. So I had the sick hats, but I needed something on the left to balance them. And so that was when I contacted Sabian, and they helped me design these cymbals, which I've taken to calling the plague hats. These are also 18-inch, same recipe of being a thin top cymbal over a medium bottom cymbal. Also same idea that neither of these cymbals is lathed, top or bottom. The main things that changed are on my plague hats. I added HH hammering, and I went from this kind of ozone plus hole pattern to the arrow hole pattern, and it gives it just a little bit of a different sound. So if the sick hats sound like this, the plague hats sound like this. So they're a little bit darker, they have a little bit more spread to them, they're a little bit softer. The sick hats are really cutting and aggressive, and the plague hats are a little bit less so. So, you know, they're both phenomenal cymbals, and I love playing both of them. I use them in the context of this drum set. I use them a lot in different sections just to add a little bit more musicality. For example, the in Fierce songs Diamond Rush and Clarent, they both start out with just kind of an open sloshy hat, kind of heavy groove. And so I use the sick hats in a sloshy state for that, just to kind of help introduce the energy of the song. But then when it got to the verses, I was looking for something a little bit less cutting and just overall a different vibe, a different feel. So I went for the plague hats for that, and I think it helps, you know, differentiate the sections. Also in the Herd song The Awakening, after the we call it the prog section, the big unison between keyboard and guitar. The vocals come in, and that's where Roman starts doing this kind of sing rap. And at that point, we're playing in E flat minor, and it's a very contemplative part of the song and of the album as a whole. So for that, I went just kind of like with this nice open, slow groove on the plague hats, and the darker quality of those hi-hats helps add to the overall feel of that section. But, you know, so then it builds up, and eventually it modulates up to E minor, and that's where the sing rap stops briefly, and he comes in with this really fast, aggressive, I hate to call it a normal rap, but compared to the sing rapping, it's normal. And that's where I switched to the sick hats, again, just to kind of follow the fact that now the music is picking up. Now we're starting to get a little bit more aggressive. Now we're starting to really build some momentum back up. So it's nice to have those two different sounds to use in different contexts like that. So here we go with The Awakening. Check it out.